64 years ago today, Jersey Joe Walcott, the Hall of Fame heavyweight boxer and two-time organization champ, became the first African American to be elected as a sheriff in the United States. Elected on Tuesday, November 2 by a 2-to-1 margin, he ran as a Democrat and said he wanted to use the position to help people and rehabilitate them. Read a little more 1916 on Jersey Joe Walcott in 1967. CC 3.0. The ring boxer not only are sheriffs among the county police brass, they have a unique role in American politics as the final arbitrator of the Constitution. Regardless of what even the Supreme Court has ruled, a sheriff can decide what he will and will not enforce in his jurisdiction. Walcott was sheriff of Camden County, New Jersey. Walcott, whose real name was Arnold Cream, said he developed an interest in working with delinquent children after he lost the heavyweight belt to Rocky Marciano and started working in correctional facilities. More good news on this date. The BBC television service was launched by the British Broadcasting Corporation, world's first continuous broadcast quality TV service. 1936. The Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, CBC, was established 1936. Martin Luther King Day, a national holiday to honor the civil rights hero, was signed into U.S. law by President Ronald Reagan. 1938. Hostage David Jacobson was freed after 17 months of captivity by Islamic Jihad. 1938. 9 years ago today, the longest World Series drought ended in the most spectacular fashion when the Chicago Cubs came back from 2-1 against the Cleveland Indians to win the baseball championship on the final day, becoming the first team in 40 years to do so after being down by such a margin. On November 4th, the city of Chicago held a victory parade and rally for the Cubs that began at Wrigley Field, headed down Lake Shore Drive, and ended in Grant Park. The city estimated that over 5 million people attended the parade and rally, which made it one of the largest recorded gatherings in history. GC 2.0. Archer Villa Roman 3 highlights of the season included a no-hitter pitch by Jay Arrieta. The Cubs finished with the best record in Major League Baseball, while also reaching the 100-win mark for the first time since 1937, finishing the season with 132, the most in franchise history going back over 100 years. Other highlights include catcher Wilson Contreras hitting a first-pitch home run at his first at-bat in the majors, a June 20th game against the Reds in which Chris Bryant hit 3 home runs, and a July 31st walk-off bunt RBI from none other than starter John Lester, owner of a career batting average of 0.064. Their defense was the stingiest in the MLB, allowing just 3.37 runs per game, the major's lowest by 0.3 of a run. They defeated the San Francisco Giants in the National League Division Series and returned to the National League Championship Series for the second year in a row, where they defeated the Los Angeles Dodgers in 6 games. 2016, 25 years ago today, the first residents arrived at the International Space Station. The 3-person crew, American Commander Bill Shepard and 2 Russians, were launched to the space station on a Russian Soyuz rocket and stayed aboard the station for 136 days. It inaugurated an uninterrupted human presence on board which, so far, has hosted 244 astronauts, cosmonauts, and space tourists from 19 different nations, including 150 Americans, 50 Russians, 9 Japanese, 8 Canadians, 4 battalions, 2 Germans, and 1 Brazilian. The largest artificial object in space today, it orbits 250 miles 400 km above the Earth, circling it roughly every 9 minutes, completing 13.5 orbits per day. The windows are covered during night hours to give the impression of darkness because the station experiences 16 sunrises and sunsets per day. The ISS is run and funded by multinational collaboration between NASA and 4 other space agencies in Russia, Japan, Europe, and Canada. Governed by international treaties, the station serves as a microgravity and research laboratory where scientific experiments are conducted in astrobiology, astronomy, meteorology, physics, and other fields. 2000 Look, International Space Station photobombs, solar eclipse stunning NASA pics 135 years ago today. KDKA in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania started broadcasting as the first commercially licensed radio station in the United States. Photo by Jem Bays, CC license after building a transmitter for the company. Westinghouse employee Frank Conrad listened as colleagues broadcast the U.S. presidential election returns from a shack on the roof. It was reportedly heard as far away as Canada. By the way, Republican Warren G. Harding won the election that night on his 55th birthday. 1920, and on this day in 1970, the Leveland UFO case occurred in Texas, with 15 separate people reporting sightings of blue lights or an oblong craft that would disengage and then re-engage by cars. Plasma Ball of Light by Sean State, CC license. The stories were taken seriously once the local sheriff saw the object himself. One of the most impressive UFO cases in American history, the Air Force spent 7 hours investigating and concluded it was ball lightning, even though there was no storm in the area at the time and the phenomenon has no reported ability to store car batteries. TV reporter Richard Ray of KDFW-TV produced a 40th anniversary story for which he interviewed the sheriff's wife and recounted the bizarre tale of what happened that night on the plains of Texas. Watch it here 65 years ago today, while campaigning for President John F. Kennedy proposed a peace corps consisting of talented men and women who would dedicate themselves to the progress of developing nations overseas. He was quickly encouraged by more than 25,000 letters responding to his call. After his inauguration, President Kennedy took immediate action to turn the campaign promise into reality, making the Peace Corps volunteer program an independent U.S. agency. Since its inception, more than 250,000 Americans have volunteered serving in 141 countries.